Okay, Georgia with a 19-point win over the Gators, and they made it harder on themselves than it had to be, but it's just kind of like, they won by 19 points. That's a lot. I mean, the game was not in doubt halfway through the fourth quarter. As soon as the Gators had to punt down 13, the game seemed to me pretty well over. Georgia adds another touchdown. I thought Florida played about as well as they could play. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I've made a big deal about this, but I think this is every single game now I've seen of Florida except part of their second half Tennessee loss. So I thought the Gators played pretty well. They're just not as good as Georgia, and that's where we're at right now. I also thought, I'm burying the lead. Jake Fromm played unbelievable tonight. I think it was something like 17 to 24. I don't have statistics because in Jacksonville, everything is a complete fight and struggle to do anything. So I'll have to run upstairs and get that. But I thought he just that throw to Terry Godwin was beautiful. It won him the game. And the run game eventually got there. I mean, they ran for 180 yards, but they were trailing in the run game the entire game. They were not running effectively at times, but they stuck with it. They ran it 41 times. I know that off the top of my head, and I think it was for 180 yards. I mean, I thought the Gators, I could see them losing again, possibly to Missouri or South Carolina. I kind of doubt it. They probably will go 10-2, but they're not. They're limited on offense. Their defense is very good, but shame on Georgia for not scoring a touchdown and really ending the game right there on the 1 yard line with six down. You can't get a touchdown from the 1 yard line or the half inch or whatever it was. That was bad. J.J. Holloman played unbelievable. And this all just sets. Look, I've already seen some of the national reaction, and y'all got to kind of figure it out. If you're not going to give Georgia credit for winning by 19 against a top 10 team, they don't play Alabama each week, and they don't have to play Alabama each week. So judging Georgia against Alabama will happen. It may happen when they play in Atlanta, or they'll play Kentucky. It'll be one of the two. So, these dogs need to be given credit at some point. And I know this has been a bad 14 days ever since, getting just really beat up bad by LSU. And that may well cost them a playoff spot. But they have everything in their power right now. They have to win at Kentucky. Obviously, you have to handle business against Auburn and Georgia Tech. And then you got to go do something that, you did last year, which is win the SEC. The opponent is not going to be the same. It won't be Auburn. It could be Bama. Probably should be Bama. Could be LSU. But you got to go handle your business along the way. If they play like they played tonight on defense, they can win the conference. If they play like they played at times tonight on offense, they can win the conference. This team is not as good as last year's team. They should not be penalized for that. They are what they are. And I think you have to recognize still here that with the exception of the losses to LSU and Auburn, they have beaten everybody by double digits these last two seasons. And they beat Auburn by double digits. We'll see if they play LSU again. I doubt it. But I thought this game, I took the Gators with the points. I thought they would score late to keep it, 6.5 or something like that. I don't know where the line wound up, but this was not a surprising result. The grind by which Georgia had to get it was a little bit frustrating, I'm sure, but they got it done. They won, and you're off to Lexington to face the Cats. But Georgia's beaten Florida more this decade than the Gators have beaten them, and that matters to a lot of people because that hadn't happened since the 80s. And, with one more win, Georgia will win the series for the decade. And it's just, again, that hasn't happened in sort of since my youth. So it's a big deal. So next year will be a deciding game, a big game. These games are always going to be big games. And the Gators mixed up their quarterbacks and everything, but Georgia's a better team tonight, played better. They couldn't quite push it out until they had to at the end. All right, we are going to go try to get some dinner. We're going to try to fight this Jacksonville traffic. One other thing, I complain about Jacksonville a lot, and I feel like this week, I always feel sort of justified after coming down here. I mean, you got the stadium ushers telling people the game is over while Georgia is celebrating on the sideline. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, they're your guests, and you're trying to run them out of the stadium. 5 minutes after the game's concluded, 10 minutes after the game's concluded. I mean, nobody's in here now. It's everything about this place screams, we don't care. And I think that's a problem. I mean, that's me. I've been down here every game except one since 1997, and it's a problem. So if you're listening to me and you are an elected official in Duval County, you should think about that. That contract comes up in 2021, and Atlanta would love to have it. I'm sure Orlando would love to have it. I'm sure as a property owner in Athens, Georgia, I would love for it to be in Athens. So the game should be celebrated, not like it's a burden for people to be here. All right, enough of my rant. Georgia takes out the Gators, probably their second biggest win in a while. 36-17. So Georgia with a solid win.